Hey there, this is Miriam Schulman, founder of The Inspiration Place. And today we're going to be chatting with Margie Kemper. Margie Kemper is going to be one of our handcrafted holidays teachers, which is a group class that's going to teach you how to create holiday gifts and decor, and it will be offered during the fall of 2016. I wanted to sit down with Margie to share her with you. And while I was preparing for this, I was completely blown away when I took a look at her Pinterest board. So I invited Margie to come along and sit down with us and tell her how she built her Pinterest following, because I think a lot of you would be interested. So Margie is the creative mind between Margie Kemper Designs, and she teaches mixed media workshops at stores and retreats nationwide, as well as through a class on craftsy.com. Although she is active on many social media channels and has blogged since 2011, she absolutely loves Pinterest, and this has become her go-to social media platform. I was completely blown away when I saw the phenomenal Pinterest following Margie has. She has over 15,000 followers, which is absolutely unbelievable. So I knew she'd be the perfect person to talk to learn some Pinterest tips. So stay tuned. All right, Margie, so thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so thrilled to be able to have this opportunity to chat with you, and I'm so thrilled that you've agreed to join us for the Handcrafted Holidays class.
Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to participating.
So when I was looking at your social media sites, I was completely blown away when I saw how many followers you have on Pinterest. So I thought we've got to get you here to chat about how you were able to build such a phenomenal Pinterest following.
Oh, thank you.
And then share secrets with us today, right?
Sure. I love Pinterest. I use it myself as obviously a saving tool, but also for inspiration and collaboration with other artists.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How do you use it to coordinate with other artists? Do you have particular boards you share with them, or tell me about that?
Yes, group boards, they're a wonderful tool. So basically, you and I could form a group board. You can do it with anyone who shares a common interest, and then you're all pinning to that same board. So you want to think about that when you're collaborating, is who are you collaborating with? And also, how active is the board? So I've joined some group boards, and I'll pin something, say, the first of the month, and if I go back 2 weeks later and my pin is still at the top of that feed, I know that is not an active board. And you can spread out your reach, and so you'll have more exposure for your art depending on where you go. So it's a great way to get more exposure for your art, your projects, your classes, anything that you want to promote.
Now, am I going to be able to see who else contributes to them?
If you click on the figure, there'll be multiple bodies at the top right of the screen, of the board. Okay. None of it is secret.
All right, so I see the craft tutorials. And do you think this is a good way to also get more followers?
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's just pretend it's you and me. Let's pretend I am a pinner on your board. My board appears on my main page, and anyone who chooses to follow all of my boards is now following your board.
Right. If they're following your board, they're one of your followers.
Okay, so doing group boards is a great way to build your following. Is that right?
So it's not that just because they're following a board, they're going to necessarily be following you, but they'll be exposed to you. And then if they like what you pinned and they repin it, then they might come over to your board and follow you or follow your particular board. And some of them are a little bit more difficult to be invited to. So there's something called Pin Groupie, and that's where you would go to find groups.
Okay.
You would contact the administrator and say, here's my website. I think I would be a good fit for you. I'd like to participate.
All right. Now I'm looking at one of your boards. It's called Thanks for Pinning My Art.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that and how you do that, because I think a lot of people would love this strategy.
So I follow different artists that are in the same field, and I've seen several doing that. And so a few years ago, I thought, why don't I do that too? It's a great way to keep older blog content current, have more eyes on my work, etc. So I did start that board, and I put it front and center. And so I get either TalkWalker alerts or Google alerts when my website is mentioned anywhere. And also Pinterest has a way that you can get notifications. So I get an email from Pinterest at least once a day saying so-and-so has liked your pin, or now they call it saving instead of liking because apparently the words to pin are offensive in another country. So they've changed it to save now, which is great.
Okay, so now here's the question I have about this. This is my question. So when you first told me about this strategy, I said, all right, I'm going to go do this strategy and I'm going to look for people who have pinned my art. And let's say someone has pinned my sheep, but then 5 people have repinned the same sheep. Would you repin all 5 to your board saying thanks for pinning my art?
No, I would stagger them. If I wanted to share all 5, I would use a scheduler so they're not all happening at once, because nobody wants to see that same pin 5 times in a row.
Okay.
Or I would look at the people who are pinning them. This is a time management issue. You have to decide how much time are you going to put into it. But you can look at the person who's pinning it, where she or he pinned it, and how many followers they have on that board. So if somebody pinned it who had 3,000 followers on her board, yes, I would want to repin that. If somebody had 16 followers, that's not really worth the time. Literally, we all only have so much time, so you want to get the maximum exposure. So if you pinned that person who had 3,000 followers, those 3,000 followers are going to see that again.
See it. You pin it to your board.
But I say it's her pin that I'm pinning.
Yes.
So they'll see it again because it originated from her. And you want to spread it out. So let's say it was an art journal. I would say, oh, thanks for pinning my art. I would put it in art journal. Then I might put it in Sizzix. You know, you have to have a number of boards that are relevant to your field.
Yes.
And then you make it more interesting for people by putting in things other than your art. So you would then do some Google searches for sunflowers and put in other things. And you'd end up attracting people who like sunflowers, who maybe never thought of taking one of Miriam Schulman's painting classes, but now, oh my gosh, I'm going to, because this board is so beautiful. And at the top of the sunflower board, you say, do you like sunflowers? Check out my sunflower painting class. It's an online ta-ta-ta. And you give them a link. So your board description is super important as well.
No, that's really great advice, Margie. Thanks.
Sure.
All right, so I had some other questions. You had mentioned a Pinterest scheduler.
Yes. So I use Tailwind. There are a couple that are out there. Let's say you're looking at Pinterest live and you see something that you want to pin. You think, hey, this is great content. I would pin it to one of my boards, let's say Art Journal. Then I'm going to click to pin it again, but Tailwind is going to give me another option to schedule. And it will pull up all of my Pinterest boards and I just have to click on them. So all of a sudden I'm now pinning it, but I'm not pinning it live, I'm scheduling it.
So let's talk about the other thing you had mentioned. I'm going to go back to your main page. Is you talked about the positioning of your boards. You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
The theory is most people will not scroll down below your top 3 rows. So when your screen is at full capacity, you probably will only see those 3. So you want those to be the most important things.
Okay.
People who are fashion bloggers, or not fashion really, but say home decor or food bloggers, they'll manipulate the top boards based around the season.
What would you say is some other really important things to be doing with Pinterest?
Well, I think you really want to think about what's your ultimate goal. I want people to come over to my website. So most of my boards will say, come over and sign up for my newsletter, and I give them an incentive to do that. And the incentive is to receive a discount for my online mixed media class with Craftsy.
Okay.
And that's a great way of building my list and giving people something back for making the effort to come over. And I've set that up with my mail, my newsletter service, so that once you confirm, that comes straight to you.
How do you choose the picture for your cover board? Do you put a lot of
That's
thought
a great
into that?
question. Yes, that's a great question. I try to edit my covers about every 3 months to keep it interesting, so that if somebody does stop on the page that's a regular, they'll say, oh, there's something I haven't seen, and click over there. But you really want great, great images, and you want ones that will show up nicely in the square. So you can scroll through, if you click edit board, you can scroll through the images that you have in that board until you find one that sits and fits nicely in the preview, and then you just hit save and you've got a new cover.
So what I like about Pinterest is because it's a great search engine savvy tool that if you use good keywords,
that you can really drive the right people to your board.
Right.
What are your tips on that?
Well, when you search on Pinterest, the search words that you put in are going to show up top, and there will be suggestions now of similar things. That's very helpful. Google searching is a great way because you'll see what's coming up as frequently sought after terms. And also Amazon. If you type in the things that interest you on Amazon, you might be surprised what other words will come up. Well, another thing I would mention on Pinterest is not to alphabetize your boards. This goes back to the what's at the top. You have to really go with what's most important to you and keep that up top.
So here's something I see that you do that I was also told to do. That each row is grouped thematically.
If they find an area that they're interested in, chances are they're going to look left and right and see if is there something similar here. And don't forget, you can hide boards. You can have secret boards.
So what do you use your secret boards for?
Business-related things that I'm not ready to put out there yet. Articles I want to hold on to. And if you have more of a business persona out there than personal, maybe you don't want your recipes on your boards. You know, I do have them on mine, and I think that makes some people feel like they know you more if they see some personal aspects like that, and people like that.
Well, I actually, for a while, was part of a blogging group where we helped each other pin. It's nice, but I finally quit because you're required to pin things that you really would not normally pin.
Yes,
so, for example, I have a cocktail board, and I don't drink cocktails, but some of those recipes are my most pinned items, and I got quite a few followers that way. But maybe it should have been an art blogging group so that what I was pinning was more simpatico with what the types of followers I wanted to attract.
Yes, I think so. And then even within the art groups, the style wasn't mine. So even though it was art, it was so far away from what I'm normally sharing that I just thought, oh, this isn't really for me. So you really need to look at what the content is before you say yay or nay, I guess.
So here's the $1,000,000 question. How much time are you spending on Pinterest?
It depends. Tailwind has definitely cut down drastically. And I have a kind of an organizational chart on a Google Sheet that I use that helps me keep track of what I've done. So I'm not redoubling my efforts. But I would say generally 15 minutes a day in the morning and 15 minutes at night. You have to stay focused. You can't go down that Pinterest rabbit trail and, lose yourself.
What are some of your other tips that you have?
I think we've covered most of it. We talked about the board descriptions, the board arrangement, sharing your content over a period of time. Multiple times is fine, just not all at once.
Do you think it matters what time of day you're pinning your content?
I do think it matters. If it's a great pin, it won't matter because there are people in different countries, so it's going to be moving no matter what.
Okay.
But as a rule, people in the United States seem to like Thursday nights through Sunday nights.
Really?
There are all kinds of cheat sheets and graphics you can see if you Google best time to pin, and it really does depend on your audience.
Do you have pins that have gone viral and you have thousands of repins on it?
I do have a couple of really good ones. So that just shows you the power of Pinterest. This is a 5.5-year-old project that's at the top of the feed.
See, that's why, in my opinion, I feel like it matters less what time of day you pin, and it matters more that you're creating something that has good keywords, good images, that people want to repin, and it's easy for them to find who is looking for by having the good keywords. In my experience, my best pins have grown over time. Now, have you found that people who are repinning this then mention, oh, I found you on Pinterest, like if they come to take your class on Craftsy?
I have had people come, many people take the online class as a result of this, and I've had people come to classes in person who found me on Pinterest, which I just find amazing. I do have a board also at the top because that's obviously one of my priorities is to have people come to classes. So at the top of my feed, I have a Classes I Teach board. Yeah, that's also great because if somebody comes, stumbles upon me for whatever reason, that's one of the first things they'll see because it's literally in my top row.
let's talk a little bit about these classes you teach, because I'm looking at these beautiful projects you've made, and I bet there's a lot of people out there who might want to connect with you and learn how to create this type of art. So tell us where they can find you to take some of these classes online.
Sure. So I have one class online with Craftsy. It's called Inventive Ink Colorful Mixed Media Effects. And I go through about 2.5 hours in 7 different segments. You have lifetime access, a money-back guarantee, and you watch it whenever you like, as many times as you want. So, and there's a forum. Students can upload their art. They can ask questions. It's great. I really, really have enjoyed it.
And now you teach also around the country as well, right?
Yes, I have just one more engagement this year. It's in October at Art Is You in Stamford, and it's 3 days over Columbus Day weekend. It's October 6th through the 9th.
So if they want to find out about your in-person classes,
the newsletter will give you information on in-person classes and online classes, and some new things that I have coming out towards the end of the year, including a Pinterest course and some other business behind-the-scenes blogging courses.
And now you've put together a special treat for people who have watched this video today.
It's related to Pinterest, and it's a cheat sheet of the tips.
To get that, you're going to look right below this video, and there'll be a sign up, and the sign up will put you on my email list, which is the Inspiration Place email, and you will be sent in your email Margie's tip list that Margie put together.
And that's also how you'll find out about registration for Handcrafted Holidays. Handcrafted Holidays will be open for registration towards the end of September. So if you're listening to this video when it goes live, it may not be ready quite yet. But if you get on this list, you will find out as soon as it's ready. And you'll also be notified whenever we have other great interviews. I'm interviewing all 9 of the other teachers. If you missed last week's episode, I interviewed Blenda Tyvel with her Etsy tips. And soon we'll be interviewing Joanne Sharp and Jessica Sporn and lots of other lovely artists. So you don't want to miss that.
All right. So I think this might be a good time for us to talk about your project. I think it actually could be used for more than just this holiday season. So why don't you share with us what you have planned to teach in the Handcrafted Holidays?
Sure. I have 2 gift boxes for my project. And I think you're right. You can customize using the techniques I'll be showing for any holiday or any gift, or even as a tabletop box.
I think this is a fantastic idea that you have, because you could make it for Mother's Day or birthday or really any occasion that you want to decorate a box for the gift card. Such a fantastic idea to make things more special. So I'm so happy you're going to be teaching us about that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's really
exciting.
So there you have it. On behalf of Margie and myself, thank you so much for joining us today. We really enjoyed chatting with you about Pinterest, and we hope that you're going to join us for Handcrafted Holidays, and we'll see you online. Take care, and good luck with all your creative endeavors.